Hi everybody, I'm doing a part two because I actually got cut off by an important phone call. But what I was talking about is, growing impatient as far as in this season of singleness, and that, instead of us as women, just trying to chase a man, trying to get him to, looking for a man, trying to get a man, and trying to make this man be this idea of a person that we have in our mindset of what we want this person to be. But the reality of it is that a lot of times that, the men that we pick or the men that we choose, it just isn't for you and I, and that sometimes we can just get so impatient that we become desperate and we become thirsty. So it's like, I just want a relationship. I just want to be with somebody that I can just show off, that I can just flaunt, or I can just have somebody because I'm just tired of being single. I'm just tired of being by myself because I'm looking at everybody else. I'm just looking at everything else that's going on around me, or around you. But it's not going to do you any good to go out there and get into a relationship with the wrong person, because one thing that I found out is that it does so much damage to you when you can give your all to someone. You're providing, you're giving, you're buying, and then you turn around and this person doesn't want to be with you in that way, doesn't see you in that way. And that really does something to your spirit. It really hurts you, to know that, I've given so much, and I paid for so much, you know what I'm saying? I provided for so much, but then this person, didn't want me, and that can be very damaging to a woman's spirit. And, in order for us to prevent that and to break that cycle and to break that pattern, is that we got to stop chasing. We got to stop putting ourselves out there. Because what I found out is that, and this is actually something that this is actually was said by other women and by other men. And as I was thinking back over just my experiences when it came to relationship and dating, and I was like, wow, that was the reason why. But what they were saying is that a man can smell a desperate and thirsty woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are just so head over heels, like, we can't allow ourselves to get too impressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you are that so much head over heels, because he's doing bare minimum. And a lot of times a man can be doing bare minimum, and like, it takes us over the edge, and it's like, he's only doing small stuff. Like, you can't be too caught up with that. But that a man can smell a woman's desperation and her thirstiness. Like, he can smell that a mile away. And he'll play on that. He'll play on that, especially if he's a man working with the wrong spirit. If he's a man with wrong and ill intentions, he'll play on that. He'll play on that. He'll play on that. He'll do everything that you want him to do. He'll say everything that you want him to say. He'll do everything that you want him to do. But until he gets exactly what he wants from you, and like other men that I followed and I listened to, when you let your guard down, that's when he's going to strike. And then that's when you're going to realize, man, he just used me. He just came into my life, messed up my life, turned my life upside down. And when he got what he wanted from me, it's like he just bounced and he just went ghost. And I haven't heard from him, And ladies, the more you put yourself through that, the more damaged you become, the more hurt, the more broken you become. And you and I can't keep putting ourselves through that because we're desperate and we're looking for love, and I just want somebody to love me. Like I said in my video before I cut it off and went into the second video right here, when you become love, becoming love means that you are tapping into, you are understanding exactly what it means to love yourself and you're working on that and you're applying that, when you become love, when you have self-love, that's when you will attract a man that is willing and have the desire to lead in love until you become love. But if you are looking for a man to just love you, and I just want you to love me, and that's what you're looking for, and you're looking for that, and things of that, and you're so desperate, you're not going to attract realness. What you will attract is fake. You will attract a man where it seems like, he's really into you, or he likes you, and he just wants to do the right thing. But the reality of it is, you could be dealing with a man that treats you just like the next woman. Just like the next woman. Just coming into women's lives and just taking advantage of them, just breaking them and hurting them and bringing them down, and just seeing what he can get from them, seeing and just seeing what he can get from them when it comes to what he feels he needs from a woman. So that's what I says, that many have grown impatient. That many have grown impatient. Sorry about that. I was just telling my son to cut it down. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry. Yeah, so when I was talking about that many have grown impatient. Like, I'm just tired of waiting. I'm just tired. One thing that Joyce Meyer said, she says patience is not just waiting on God, but it's waiting on him with a good attitude. And because a lot of us just hate being single, we're not waiting on God with a good attitude. Like, I heard someone also say that I would rather just be by myself and single and have peace than to actually be in a relationship with someone that I'm stressed, I'm depressed, I'm hurting, I'm crying, I'm getting mistreated, I'm getting disrespected, and things of that. And the time will come, that you will be joined together with, the one that God has given a green light to, that God has given a thumbs up to, that God has given a yes to, because that is what I want. Because every relationship that I've been in has all been outside of God's will. So I await, I await. But in the meantime, I'm living my life. And that's what I want to encourage you. Just live your life. One thing that T.D. Jakes said is that a lot of women are just waiting. He said they just go to work, they come home, go to church, go to work, come home, go to church. He says that a lot of women are just, they're not living life. The Bible says that God has given us all things pertaining to life and godliness. And he was saying how a lot of women are just waiting. Like, they're just waiting, like a man is just gonna fall from heaven or something like that. They're not really living their life. They're not really trying to go out here and get involved in things, get involved in their community, serve in their church, find things that is of interest to them, find things that, things that they would like to do, things they would like to try out. Like, live your life. Don't just sit back and you're just waiting on the man. We cannot live our lives like that, because there's a saying that says life is too short, and if you're just out here just waiting, and in your singleness is actually a time where you should be out there. You should, if you want to travel, go travel. If you want to go here, go there. Sometimes we'll put things on hold because we're like, well, I'm not married. I'm going to wait till I get married to do that. No, do it now, because you really don't know how things will be and how your life will be when you're joined together with your spouse. You know what I'm saying? Because see, when you're single and you're by yourself, you can up and go. But when you get married, you can't just up and leave your spouse. You know, if you want to travel, you know, go to Paris. If you want to travel just around the United States, like when you're single, you can get up and do that. You don't have, you know, a husband or a wife to answer to. You know what I'm saying? But when you get married, you can't just up and leave. You know, you have a spouse now, you have a wife now, you have a husband now, you know, so you can't just be up and leaving. And you have to have a regard for how they feel. You have to be considerate, you know, because you're not single anymore. You have been joined together as one with someone else, you know. So, you know, marriage, you know, your life changes, you know, because there's another person that now you have to include, now you have to involve, now you have to consider, you know, now you have to have conversation with, you know what I'm saying? Now you have to, you know, have conversation and let this, you know, let this person know or how they feel about this and things of that, you know. I think it's, you know, that's very important too. But in singleness, you know, you're by yourself. So it's like you don't have that other person there. But it's different when you get married, you know. And if, you know, if you want to travel, you know, try to plan. You know, I heard someone say, you know, I have a bucket list. You know, I have a, you know, as a single woman, I have a bucket list. And that the things that I would like to do, the things I would like to try, the places I would like to go, you know, think about things like that. But a lot of times, you know, we're so caught up in, you know, I just want to be with somebody and I want somebody to be with me. But like I said, and like I'm going to keep saying, it's not going to do me any good when I step out there. Every time I've stepped out there and did my own thing, it never worked out. Because like God told me, anything outside my will will never work for you. So it's not that God is not going to come between you and your free will, because he's not going to violate that free will. God has given us a free will. God has given us all the ability to make choices. He's not going to violate that. That's how we were created, with a free will, created to make choices. But one thing I do know about the Father is that he knows exactly what to do to get through to you. He knows exactly what to do to get through to you and I. And if that's what he has to do, whatever it is to get our attention, then that's what he's going to do. But I know that it's not going to do me any good. It's not going to do you any good. All it's going to do is keep damaging you and impacting and affecting, keeping you from developing self-esteem and self-confidence and discovering your worth and your value if you're constantly being hooked up with the wrong person. And their intentions is not to do the right thing by you. It's not to handle you with care and to treat you the way you deserve to be treated. And I think that also it's important for you and I to know exactly what we want. What is it that you want in a mate? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of us are so physical, but what about the spiritual? Like, does that matter? You know, to me, a person's heart, a person's spirit, who and what is influencing that person on a daily basis is becoming to be more important to me. You know, like, he can be cute and he can be fine and he can have it all when it comes to the physical. But just because a person has it physical doesn't mean that they have it spiritual. You can have it all physical, but then working with nothing spiritual. You know what I'm saying? You can have it physical, but then can be a straight demon. You know what I'm saying? So it's important. Yes, you know, physical attraction, and yes, type, yes, preference. Those things are fine and dandy, but a lot of us are just so caught up in that. Oh, he's just so fine, and she's just so pretty, and all of that. But besides that, what else does this person have? What else is this person working with? You know. It's important to tap into a person's spirit. It's important to know a person's true intentions without not even asking. Like, you pick up on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to pay attention. We have to be very observant. We have to collect data. We can't get too caught up in how good he looks. We can't get too caught up in how fine she is and she got a nice shape and all of that. Like, we can't get caught up in, oh, he got a big house and he got a brand new car and he got a great job. Like, all of that is great. But it's not going to do you any good if he's out to use you and mistreat you. It's not going to do you any good if his intentions is just to see what he can get from you. To see what he can get from you. To see how he can use you. To see how he can take advantage of you. You know, coming in as a predator. You know, seeking a prey. Coming in as a predator to demolish a prey. Just us women putting ourselves out there just to be slaughtered. You know, so we have to be very, very careful, and that we have to be patient. You know, in this time of singleness, you know, not wasting time. Like, you know, there's a man that talks about the 3 B's. He talks about the brain. He talks about the body. He talks about the brand. Working on our brain. Working on our mindsets, working on our body, working on our health, exercising, working out, eating more healthier, working on our brand. You know, if you want to start that, you know, go into entrepreneurship, if you're looking to, you know, climb the ranks when it comes to your career, if you're wanting to further your education, if you're wanting to write that book and start that business, that's what he's talking about when he says brand. Focusing more on things that are important. Because the God I serve, he doesn't want nothing, nobody, no place to give us him. Because his word teaches us that anything that replaces him is an idol. And he's not pleased with that. He's not pleased when we put people, places, and things above him. So he has to be our number one. He has to be our priority. And I did a video a while back writing out your single life. Writing out your single life until the wheels fall off. That means writing it out until the very end. That we allow the Father to be the matchmaker. Because God is constantly changing our story. He's the author and finisher of my faith. He's constantly changing my story. He's the author and illustrator of my story. So until God turns the page and he titles that page marriage, that's when I will be brought together and made one with the one that God has given a green light to. God has said yes to. Yeah, this is the one now. This is the one now. But until then, I have to make the best of my single life. And I tell you to do the same thing. Make the best of your single life. It's not going to do us any good to be mad and upset and angry and depressed and all of that because we're single and we're mad and we're sad because everybody else is getting into relationships and all of that. We have to keep the faith. And we have to just believe. And just say, God, whenever you say, then that's when it will happen. Because he's a God of no mistake. He's a God of no error. And his timing is perfect. And many of us have grown impatient in this season of singleness. But there's a reason for this season. There's a reason for the season that you're in. This single season. So make the best of it. And as I speak to you, I speak to myself. As I encourage you, I encourage myself. It's not going to do me any good. It's not going to do me no good. Because anything outside God's will is temporary. But of him and with him, it's eternal. Because he's an eternal and everlasting God. And that he makes all things brand new in his timing. Until next time, you take care of yourself and you be safe.